Hello. Thank you, everyone, for coming and joining me tonight. I am so excited to bring you Things to Life. Things is a visual poetry collection that I put my love and attention into for over 15 years. I wanted it to be a visual poetry collection, and thanks to SCD, I'm able to bring that vision to life through visuals as well as an interactive experience to the left. You guys will be able to take a sneak peek not only through my eyes, but I hope you'll get to see the overall vision of what it is to deal with our everyday themes such as heartbreak, loss, depression, but while also dealing with anxiety as well. So to the left, those that are in audience, able to take an immersive look through each of the chapters of the book, as well things themselves through each interactive box. You will also have cards as well that has micro poetry that you can read to yourself aloud or with another. For those that are virtual, I also have a presentation for you separate, so you can enjoy and be a part of the experience as well, along with the visuals to the right of me. So thank you so much, and as always, have an open heart and an open mind. Thank you. When I think I'm alone, I should think about that twice, because alone is never the setting placed on my mind. Anxiety keeps me company. Depression has made a home. Taken a portion of the living room while anxiety claimed the shelves on the wall. Negative thoughts stuff junk drawers and linen closets with regrets and denials that I can't let go. I'm a hoarder of depression, a collector of the anxious, because I can't seem to just find an end to these habits of mine. When will I clean out? Have a garage sale and leave. Throw all the things that can't let me breathe. Be in my own place without finding some place. Tense words say what I am. Nothing. Useless. Worthless. Trash. Isn't that the collection of rocks that I can't bear to let go? Weighing me down and taking me under, and below to the basement where I pack up the most. Neglect on the floor, abuse on the edges. Piles high of heartbreaks, headaches of regrets. Shattered wishes and what-ifs tangle the ceiling. Hand me a trash bag. I'm about to begin. This is a tale of the fears that men don't feel. A tale of how a brush and a rush can lead to a touch, that can lead to touches, can lead to a snag of the hair, that twist of a wrist, that wince, that can lead to a redirection, a disconnection, that could lead to a shove, lead to a push, that leads to a hush, to shakes and earthquakes of the body, this body, my body, that has somehow morphed into your body after the screams, the cries, the bites, the sights of my tears still somehow gave you the green light to have your way with me, my property, now improperly your property, that you staked your claim in me, on me, and now I can't get your 10 minutes of fame off me. In me, around me, it surrounds me, chokes me, holds me, and takes me back to the black, that uncommon, common place where I watch you take and make my body into nobody. Your legacy seeps within my skin, devours my insides and makes them heard. Your loud traits, your unseemly desires, to break, to throw, to burn, everything, everyone to the ground. There is never a fault with you, victim in a state comatose, dewy eyes and choked up sobs of imaginary mishaps that led you here, when in truth, this is what you are. That is what you left me to deal with the anger boiling like volcanic roars in my stomach, left me with the damage of seeing imperfections in the perfect divine of I, left me with guilt for breathing, for seeing, for being. You left me with a pain so deep that an ocean couldn't fill. Left me with an empty so cold the sun would melt. Left me without an escape of the cage, locked up in tensions that never were my blame. This is what you left me now to give, to pass down for another to bear. Inheritance. How does it feel, they ask. As the hours blend into days, taking you out of every cell is a painful process, with tears and shouts, with scratches and sighs, with the memories lingering in the house like fog. How did it feel, they ask. My prayers met their answer. This soul made just for me, to be all for me, to heal and mend. It was joy. It was perfect. It was flawed and beautiful, and still I loved it so. How will it feel, they ask. Shaken to the core, doubts consuming, peace is written off the script, to be saddened by the seconds in the hour, to be lonely in the crowds filled with laughter, to be empty with hands filled with grief. All I feel is feelings. Sometimes my feelings write stories. Unspoken things that catch at my throat or slip up and stumble upon themselves when they cannot seem to express what they are, to the outer spaces of these places that they tend to wander into without an intro, just becoming deductions for existing within places that don't accept what they are, intangible emotions that are fighting to make space within the realm of us and we. Sometimes my feelings cause anger. When a shy girl like me with a quick wit and a quick-whipped tongue feels their emotions rise to the light and linger on the teeth they bite, to fight down the words that clamor for a place in my vocab, oh, barely do I get them back to a safe distance, a safe place, that you can't deduce nor contrive what I got for you inside. And with all that willpower at its peak, my body is hot and my belly is fire, to where all I have left is to lash out at the fact that my eloquent and elegant proclamation to make you mine has to sit in the back seat while rage takes a ride on that Pontiac Pride. Where my voice booms and shakes you up and rattles your cage just to get a reaction, to avoid interactions. The dance of my feelings and emotions colliding to encrypt the message that looms in the waltz between tales and gestures. And there it is, the final curtain, the last hurrah, the goodbye, the it's not you, it's me, but yeah, it's really you, and yeah, you're cool, but just too cool, you know. And there it goes. The story of devotionals dedicated to you, whisked away by the strength in my veins, the voice of anger with a message for you, there it goes. Sometimes my feelings write endings. When saying sorry isn't enough. When apologies don't cover the bills, when hunger strikes the belly, your sorry won't feed me. When the memories flood back of the pain and mistrust, your sorry won't erase from my mind. Keep the sorry, show me the regret. Keep the sorry, show me the fear. Keep the sorry, show me the understanding. Tie together the comprehension of the life you tattered. How you closed my eyes and placed rocks on the lids while the mental pictures play over and over. How my body, tiny and frightened, tight under overgrown hands, feasting on a meal of innocence. How the sweet taste of fresh honey and snow-white milk lulled you into a trance of rhythm and movement that wasn't made aware to young eyes. How you went about your day and never had a thought about the pain you caused as you kept coming back to the hive of my nectars over and over and over. So tell me, where was the sorry in your dance of repetition? So now that the empty phrase, I'm sorry, decided to bubble from your mouth, after your body won't function, after the sins have caught up, after the fun was less, so now is when I finally get that apology that the old me wanted, that the young me needed to feel, to be free of a weighted guilt of another, to bury the anxiety that creeps to my today, day after day, of the possibility of the next illicit interaction. So now is when you've come to say, I'm sorry for stealing my piece of peace now and forever, and I can't give it back, but to you the sorry is enough. You think but a little bit. You think that your sorry has that much power to change the marble of a body that you've chiseled away. But then I came to sand the scars away and create a masterpiece, an artist. I am Michelangelo of aggression, a Picasso of pain. So when you come to feed me a sorry, regardless of the intention, remember, I don't eat. I'm sorry, no more. Thank you. So this is the portion where if you guys have any questions, any comments, any thoughts, anything you kind of want to discuss, any feelings that came up, I'm more than happy to open up the floor and just talk about it. I want to say maybe like 85 to 90% of the book is me. It's my experiences, is what I've dealt with. There are a few pieces that are about other people and their experiences that I feel like they've shared with me and they haven't been able to have a voice and talk about it. And the real purpose, the main purpose of the book, outside of course of the poetry, is just how anxiety is, right? I really wanted the book to be a real, true, like, journey to how someone with anxiety handles certain situations. So since I was a teenager, I've been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder and dysrhythmic disorder, which is kind of like it's like depression, but it like comes and goes. So like 1 minute I'm like super happy, and the next minute out of nowhere I'm just like, I just want to go to bed and just cry all day. So it's very weird. So having that and having anxiety, put it all together, it's really tough. And especially coming from a family where mental health is kind of more like a joke than anything else. And I think especially in the Latin culture, we really take that as it's not that serious. Just, oh, you're depressed, why? You have a roof over your head. And then you get a story of how they had to walk to school for like 3 miles and all that stuff. And yeah, I get it, grateful, but anxiety doesn't work that way. It's not something I can shut off and turn off. So with the book, I just really wanted to highlight not only my voice and my experience with anxiety, but with other people's anxiety. You know, everybody's triggers are different. With GAD, you get anxiety off of everything, right? I can be with people that I'm really comfortable with, and I have an anxiety like, am I gonna mess up? Am I gonna say something that they're not gonna be my friend anymore? And oh my God, did I leave the stove on? Like it just makes no sense. But everybody's triggers are different. There's like social anxiety, there's anxiety, like for example, you know, you don't like having uncomfortable conversations, right? Like everybody's anxiety triggers are different. So in some parts of the book, you'll see that yeah, I went through it, but also it's me having a voice for someone else and giving that voice to someone else who might have not been able to express that. Because be very surprised how many people, how many friends, family that you may have that have anxiety. And it's not just like, oh, I feel anxious. Like, no, this is like, you have like it's like a voice. It sounds like you, it thinks like you, but it's totally separate from you. And it just, you know, goes back to things that just absolutely positively makes no sense, you know, in the moment, in the situation. So going back, I like I said, I just really wanted something that emphasized my experience, but also other people's as well. So I hope with the visuals and with also the book doesn't have any pages. I didn't want any organization, but I also wanted some sort of structure. So that's where you get the sections as well. So. Being transparent was the absolutely hardest thing, even like reading this, and like I've read this so many times, right? I've gone through it so many times, and it just every single time it just brings up all these emotions. And then it's even harder because it's like, oh my God, it's in front of people. Oh my God, what are people thinking? And then I'm thinking about stuff that happened like 10 years ago, and I'm like, oh my God, you know, like it's just a lot. So I'm grateful for the journey of the book because I was able to open up, and now I feel like I can express myself more and I can express myself better. And I'm also grateful for the book in the sense of being able to visit certain traumas that I've had and just kind of see my part in it and what can I do to rectify it. You know what I mean? So I'm grateful for that, and I'm just grateful to be able to communicate, because I'm just like, when it comes to like showing how I feel, like people that know me, I'm just like, everybody's like, oh, Jen's so fun, and Jen is so funny and cute, and if people only really knew, that's just my wall that I put up. Because the way I look at it is, if you're laughing with me, you're not laughing at me. So if you're laughing, you're not paying attention to like my anxious face, because I feel like my emotions are like right here, so you can tell. So I just don't want people to kind of see that anxiety. So yeah. It took me 15 years to write this. So these are poems that have been scattered around from 2007 all the way to like just last year. So I just, at that moment, because there's some boxes that really don't represent my journey now. But at that time, it did represent my journey. So I want to respect that, right? I want to respect where I came from, where I am currently, and where I want to go. Because I feel like, even though I did go through a lot of traumatic experiences for me, I'm grateful for each and every little thing that happened to me, whether it was a positive or a negative, because it made me who I am today. And it made me be the person that I am, and be the mother that I am. So I'm really grateful for that. But definitely I wanted items that not only you guys can see, but also kind of touch, interact, play with, and get the feeling. And in addition to having this ambience, sound, and visuals, and also having the poetry and having to focus on that, it's kind of, I really wanted you guys to get the idea of what it is to have anxiety. It's more subjective. Like, you're over here in your mind, like you're trying to concentrate, and out of nowhere you're just thinking about something, a regret you had 10 years ago or 20 years ago, and it's just like eating at you, and like at the same time you're trying to focus. And you know, it's, I really wanted you guys to really see that. So again, you'll see a lot of things that make sense together, but at the same time kind of don't, and you're like, wow. So it's pretty much anxiety. Like, anxiety is very intrusive, and I think that's what I really wanted to portray in the book. It's extremely intrusive, and it's really difficult when you emotionally and physically you're in a space to move on, but like mentally anxiety won't let you move on. So it's like frustrating. It's like a battle with yourself, kind of. The book really had me hone in on my trauma, what affected me, and where I need to stop letting the trauma control my emotions and control where I am. I have a very big issue with my daughter and like people coming around, pretty much. So for example, like if my daughter wanted to go over to a friend's house, I wouldn't let her. And I would just be like, no. And mind you, that's my trauma. That has nothing to do with the person. That has nothing to do with anyone else. It's no one. It's really just me. And where I have to sit and explain and be like, well, it's not you. I'm sorry. It's me. And then my little one was getting frustrated. And I'm just like, oh my God, like I have to like take a step back and realize my trauma doesn't necessarily have to become her trauma. And me, subconsciously, I might be putting that trauma on her, an unnecessary anxiety and an unnecessary fear. I feel like with the book now, I'm just like able to pinpoint and trigger and figure out, okay, this is a trigger. This is why I'm acting this way, and it's because of a trauma, and I need to explain that. So I'm very transparent with my child. So I let her know, hey, listen, like this is a trauma that I had. Someone did this to me, or that happened to me, and it's not you. You're not doing anything wrong. It's me. I'm the problem. So don't think you're the problem. You're never the problem. And if you want to talk about something, and if something is bothering you, please talk to me about that. Since the book, I think that really helps break that generational curse, because I think in my family, it's just like, everybody's just like, it's kind of like, do what I say and that's it. The person doesn't have a voice. The person doesn't matter. It's like you have to respect your elders and respect, where they came from, and you're not anybody, and it's hard to put all that weight on a child, because children are the most vulnerable, right? It's not adults that are vulnerable, it's children. And there's so much things that can happen to a child with putting them in that mentality of you have no identity, you have no say. And with my child, I make sure that I'm like, you have a say. If I'm making you feel uncomfortable, anyone's making you feel uncomfortable, say it, communicate, talk about it. But that communication and that saying starts with me, because I feel like my anxieties has shifted. But I feel like overall in my healing journey, I think I'm starting to see where I need to go. And I am thinking about more things and like what I can do in order to move forward from the trauma. So I just have to kind of figure out what's the next step. But so step one, I've done it. I've recognized that I have all these traumas. Step two is like in the works. It's in the progress. So I'm trying, but I think the number one takeaway that I want everyone take away from the book, majority for women and majority for those that suffer with anxiety and with mental health issues overall, is you matter. Your voice matters. And your experiences are valid. Just because someone doesn't recognize them or doesn't think that it happened to you. If you have a truth and you have an experience, whether I may not have been aware of it, say it. If you've had an experience with another individual, say it. People don't want to say certain things or do certain things because they just are so afraid of the opinion of others. And I think we as society need to like fully cement that just because I have a certain thought and a certain opinion doesn't mean that I'm disagreeing with you. I can still disagree, and I can say, hey, your feelings are valid. Too is just, if you cannot get that apology, if you cannot get that conversation of closure, if you cannot get that closure, do it yourself. Have that conversation with yourself, and just know that your trauma is not you. Your trauma is just something that happened to you, and you can take that experience and blend it in with yourself, or you can take that experience and separate it from yourself, whatever the case may be. But the trauma is not you, and you are not that person. You got a card today when you walked in. So within that card is a little bit more information about me. And also on the opposite side is a nice little poem. So that I just wanted to give you guys as a thank you for letting me share my things with you tonight. So thank you guys so much.